So I mentioned to you guys that I've been doing a thing with Max Kellerman for YouTube. Max covering a lot of MMA right now. I got to participate. And before Max and I went on, just did this. Story's 10 minutes old, but before we went on, he turns, it's just he and I talking. He's got a list of things. He goes, Chael, here's what I'm going to cover. Conor McGregor's not on here. He goes, I got to say, Conor, I got to talk about it. The hardcores want to hear about him, and all of his haters that say they don't want to hear about him want to hear about him. I'm like, dude, I got it. I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat over here talking about Conor on a fight that was weeks ago, which, by the way, he lost. And Conor also being an athlete that we're not going to see in a best case scenario for another 12 months. The mere fact that we're still talking about him, we're still squeezing this is a compliment to him. How he's managed to keep his name out there, even if people are choosing to dance on his grave and take some kind of enjoyment at the fact that he lost, he's still winning. He's still teaching us something. There's something to be learned from a marketing standpoint. And I agree with Max. I can't quit talking about it either. Anthony Smith had a great line earlier today where he said, no matter how many excuses Conor McGregor makes, he's never going to convince us fellow fighters. That's true. But Conor doesn't seem to care. He does not seem to care if he looks like a buffoon or if he looks like a jerk. He needs to keep his name hot and needs to keep it out there. I think that's what he's doing. I think we're seeing an entertainer who understands marketing, who understands the importance to headlines, and he can use that attention and steer you in another direction. He's looking to open up pubs or lend his name to something to do with pubs. Okay, great. But he's got to have a name to lend in the first place. Is that what he's doing? Or is he just a straight up jerk that doesn't know that he lost? I tend to not believe that. I don't think you could go through that kind of an ass whipping and not know that you just went through an ass whipping. Like, I don't think that it works that way. And there's only been a couple of corrections that I would ever offer to anything that he said. First and foremost was how much he wanted it to be a doctor stoppage. A doctor stoppage is the worst ass kicking you can take. It means you weren't smart enough to stop it. Your corner didn't care enough about you to stop it. The referee didn't do his job and break it, and a higher authority had to come. It's bad, right? A doctor stoppage is bad. It's not less. It's not less or more explainable. So I wanted to make that point. I've also been a little bit of a Conor defender, saying, look, he was hurt. He was in shock. Those things were in the spear of the moment. And even as he enters John Jones territory of putting out tweets and then cowardly deleting them, the guy was hooked up to morphine. I think he gets a little bit of pass with those few days that he's in a hospital underdoing surgery and is on medication. And somebody within his inner circle who's never been accused of being responsible in the first place allows him to have a phone in his hand that has an app on it known as Twitter. I mean, right, in all fairness, give the guy a break. Show him some grace. But there does seem to be something within the human psychology where every time he speaks, we feel a need to correct it. I will tell you, I went through a little bit of this myself. When I was trying to get over on guys, when I was trying to attach myself to bigger names and work my way up the card, which was really all I ever did as an agitator, as like a full-time agitator, I was trying to attach myself to somebody that was higher up on the card or higher up in the sport than me. Okay, great. I didn't always succeed at getting their attention. And there was few things worse than yelling in a crowded room and nobody hearing you. There's few things worse where you got to really go back to the drawing board strategically and say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? How is nobody turning their head as I'm standing on this table and shouting with my shirt off? How? How is this not noticeable? And one thing that I found that was bulletproof, I got a response every time, is if I lied. If I ever said something about a guy that wasn't true, he would correct it every time. And it didn't have to be bad. You hear a terrible word like lie, you think that I'm disparaging him or I'm disgracing him. No, it didn't have to be that. I would claim at times that I had worked out with somebody. So-and-so would be, and I said, look, when I worked out with him, I mopped the floor with this guy, something along these lines, right? I'm making it up, but something along these lines. And if I had never even been in the workout room with him, if that workout had simply never happened, or if it happened, but it was the other way, he mopped the floor with me. If I ever lied, that was guaranteed a response. And there's something to the adage, it's the truth that hurts. There's something about it that when you start telling the truth about a guy, it starts to really hurt him and starts to really get him worked up, but it doesn't guarantee you a response. when I would come out, and now the kids call it trolling, right? I call it lying. Lying is now acceptable online. People just label you as a troll. Well, he was just trolling. Well, no, he's a liar. He's a dishonest person is what he is, but I was the bad guy, right? Bad guys only do a few things. One of them is lie. So I found that as I would lie about somebody, say something that just wasn't true, they responded every single time. So when I watched Conor claiming that he was winning a fight that he clearly wasn't, it's a lie. And much like in my own career, people felt a need to respond. They couldn't help themselves. They absolutely could not help but to set the record straight. I got asked about that one time. I was in California at a commission hearing, and one of the commissioners said, well, how do we know? How do we tell the difference between the guy we see on TV and the guy that's sitting here now? And I remember turning my head sideways and saying, well, one is a performance and the other is testimony. Like, do you not understand the difference? Do you not understand that we don't go lock up Al Pacino for killing people with machetes and selling cocaine because we watched the movie Scarface? One is a performance and the other is testimony. He was so upset that I said this. I was being condescending. That's true. It was not designed to be nice. It was designed so that you understand the difference of when you're under oath versus when you're performing. And when I watch Conor McGregor, I do not believe that he would put his hand on a stack of Bibles and then claim that he won that round. I believe that there is a brilliance, and I believe that one of the reasons that we're all responding and we continue to, like a fish on the line, is because he's not telling the truth. Now, we don't call him a liar. In today's world, that's accepted. We call it a troll. He's trolling you. But there's still a piece, because he does it so well, that we don't know, is this a performance and part of the show, or is this a delusional man? That's where you're left. And that's why we continue to talk about it. And if you're wondering about the psychology, man, look, 22 guys fought that night. One of them is still being talked about. If you think that we're teasing and putting that one down, that one who happens to be Conor is winning.